Welcome to State Insurance USA Cares podcast, where we celebrate the heart of our communities. Each episode, we highlight local charities and nonprofits who are bringing hope, help, and healing to those who need it most. Get ready to be inspired by the amazing stories of people making a difference, because together, we care.
Welcome, good neighbors, to another episode. And this week we are speaking with Richard LeBur. I'm sorry, I got that right. From the Harry Chapin Food Bank right here in Southwest Florida. Welcome.
Hey.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Looking forward to learn a little bit more about what you guys do. So I guess without further ado, we'll jump right in here. For our listeners, who may not be familiar with, the mission of the Harry Chapin Food Bank, could you kind of let us know what you do to help out here in Southwest Florida?
Yeah. So our mission at the food bank is to lead the community in the fight to end hunger. And what that means in practical terms is that we are the largest hunger relief organization in Southwest Florida. We rescue truckloads, millions of pounds of food that would probably mostly otherwise go to waste. And we make it available to feed hungry people throughout Southwest Florida.
And how did that all start? Where did that start from?
It started 43 years ago. Originally, we were a co-op, if you will, of local pantries in Southwest Florida who began to realize that their ability to take care of hungry people was limited by their ability to source and handle food, and that maybe they'd be better off if they all leagued together and created an organization that could own a truck, that could own a warehouse, that could kind of centralize the sourcing of food from grocery stores and farms and everywhere else. And so that was in 1983, very humble beginnings, and actually stored food in Veronica Shoemaker's coolers for her flowers at her florist shop in Fort Myers. And last year, we've grown to the point where we distributed 38.5 million pounds of food in Southwest Florida last year.
Wow, that is incredible. I appreciate you guys' efforts. So I'm familiar. My dad was in radio. I'm familiar with Harry Chapin as a musician, Cats in the Cradle. How did he get involved in all this?
So we're named in his honor. Harry was really passionate about hunger. Not everybody knows this, but if you remember him, you'll know he was a huge music star. He was one of the biggest singer-songwriters in the world at the peak of his career. And he gave the proceeds of every second concert to hunger charities. He started several on his own. He got the Congressional Gold Medal of Honor for his work. But unfortunately, Harry died really young. He was 39, died in a traffic wreck in Long Island Expressway. We weren't founded until 1983, but the folks who started up the food bank here and really grew it, many of them knew Harry. Several of them were from Long Island. Some of them knew him personally, and they credited Harry with inspiring them to do that and asked the family if they could name their new food bank in his honor. So that's why we carry his name.
I love that. I love that story. So hunger often looks different, than people kind of expect. What does food insecurity really look like in our region right now?
Well, food insecurity is a long term, isn't it? It's sort of the professional term or the government term for hunger. But what it means is you are food insecure if at some point during the year your pantry is bare, your bank account is empty, and you don't know where your next meal is coming from. And that could be all the time. Maybe you are dealing with mental health issues and have a hard time holding down a job, or maybe you're homeless, in which case, very frequently it's difficult to, get enough food to have something to eat all the time. Very many cases, it's episodic. People go through periods of hunger when something financially goes wrong with their budget, usually is what's going on. So maybe you lost your job and you're in the middle of looking for a new one, but in the meantime, you don't have any income coming in, or maybe you've been sick and haven't been able to work. And so actually the largest number of folks that we see who are hungry in Southwest Florida are working families, because this is a really expensive part of the world to live in. And if you're teaching school, or maybe you're a starting police officer, you're waiting tables in a restaurant, or you're valet parking cars, cleaning rooms at a resort, this is a really difficult place to make ends meet sometimes. And then if anything goes wrong, you get sick, you get divorced, you lose your job, the landlord raises the rent, you have a really expensive car repair could be enough to trigger it. You get to the end of the month and you realize, I don't have any money left and I don't know what I'm eating next week. That's food insecurity these days.
And it's one of the first things, like you had mentioned, that people cut because, yeah, hey, got to keep a roof over my head. I got to keep moving forward, and food's the easy one. Not so easy, but it's the one
Yeah.
people think about sometimes.
Yeah, you got to pay the rent. You got to make the car payment if you want to have a car to get to your job. So there's a lot of things in most people's budget that aren't very easy to cut, at least not in the short term. You could look for a new place to live at a lower rent, but that might take you months. You might be, under a lease. So food is one of the few things you can try to cut back on, and that's one of the places people often go.
Absolutely. So one of the most exciting developments is the new Hunger Action Center. I think it's under construction here in Fort Myers. What inspired this project, and why is it such a critical investment for the community?
It's really important. I mentioned earlier that we distributed almost 40 million pounds of food last year, and the growth has been phenomenal. And between the pandemic and hurricanes and lately affordability of food and fuel and insurance and healthcare and everything else, there's a growing number of people who need our help. So we've been in a building now that we moved into originally 15 years ago. When we moved in there, we distributed 4 million pounds that year, and it's almost 10 times that much now. So
Wow.
we have been planning for a while that we needed to build a new set of facilities that would be capable not only of handling our current volumes, but handle anticipated growth in the community. We're expecting that we're going to be distributing 50 million pounds of food a year by 2030 and 100 million pounds of food a year by 2050. And that's if we don't have any hurricanes. So we desperately need expanded facilities with greater capacity to take care of the community. And that's what we're in the process of building.
And I learned that, beyond food distribution, the Hunger Action Center is going to include some features for focusing on dignity and education. Why is that an important part of the design in a space that goes beyond just warehouse and day-to-day operations?
Well, we have people show up at our current place of business on a regular basis. They, figure we're a food bank and they need food. They're going to come to our door. We're not really set up to do that. Mostly our food we distribute is going out by the truckload to organizations like Community Cooperative or Fish of Sanibel or, other organizations. But we want to be able to take care of those folks, and we want to be able to do it, humanely with respect and dignity. So we're going to set up a pantry area in the new building. We anticipate the new location, which is right on Martin Luther King Boulevard, is going to have a lot of people driving by. We're expecting we'll have more people drop by looking for food. And when people come and do that, it's a great opportunity to have a conversation with them about lots of things, right? What's going on? What else do you need? How can we help? Can we connect you up with somebody who can help you with rent assistance, or somebody who can, give you job training, or can we take your blood pressure and make sure that you're doing okay? Lots of things that can be done while people are there, and I think it's a great opportunity while they're coming and looking for food to try to help them in other ways.
Yes, it goes beyond that food distribution. And that's great, because those are important things in the community as well as taking care of the people here.
Mm-hmm.
So you're also planning a future location in Naples. What need are you seeing in Collier County right now that, I don't know, kind of warrants taking a step in that direction?
Well, people think Collier County must not have any hunger. There's a lot of prosperity in Collier County. There's a lot of prosperity everywhere in Southwest Florida. But again, it's the working folks in Collier County who are the ones that, mostly we're seeing. We do see also some seniors, particularly if they've got like a chronic medical condition. But Collier is not any different than everywhere else. About 1 in 8 residents of Collier County will go hungry at some point this year. And so we're the same as everywhere else. We're seeing increased demand for our services. We have a nice facility in Collier County we've been in since around Hurricane Irma, but we don't own it. We rent it, and it's a little small to our purposes as we've grown. So we are taking the opportunity to build a new facility to be sure that we can meet the needs of Collier County as well.
That's great, covering all of Southwest Florida. So how do Fort Myers and Naples, the centers there, work together to help strengthen hunger, across all of Southwest Florida?
Yeah. Well, Fort Myers is our mothership. That is the central distribution. That's the big place. The new building is going to be over 100,000 square feet. That makes sense partly because Collier County is a little too far south for our kind of main center. We serve Charlotte County and points north as well as Collier. And frankly, the cost of land and building in Collier County is much more expensive than it is in Lee as well. So, we're gonna set up a center in Collier. There'll be a satellite. Receive food from Lee. We'll do volunteer work there and be part of the network.
Very nice. So Fort Myers Beach and the surrounding coastal communities, we've seen a lot of challenges, I might say, over the last couple of years. Has the Harry Chapin Food Bank supported the neighbors in those areas during these struggling times?
Absolutely. We have partner agencies that get food from us in the Fort Myers Beach area. We've been very active numerous times. We were, very active after Irma, and then especially, of course, after Ian. If you recall, even before Ian, there was a red tide, a really bad red tide one year, and people in Fort Myers Beach were really suffering. We set up special food distributions because there were a lot of folks who, were employed on the beach, but no one was coming. So they were, a lot of people really struggling. So we've done food distributions after emergencies in Fort Myers Beach for years. And we continue to do it on a routine basis. If people need help, there are agencies nearby that can help them.
That is great. It was much needed. Like I said, we went through the gauntlet there for a couple of years where it seemed like it was a regular thing occurring, but we appreciate you guys being there and help support the community here locally. Can you share an example of how partnerships or mobile distribution centers have helped the families and seniors in the area other than just Ian during disaster times?
Sure. Yeah, we do. As I mentioned, we have a network of agencies, 175 of them that are operational every day, every week, somewhere in Southwest Florida. And we do about 50 mobile pantries where that's our trucks going out to a church or a community center and directly feeding members of the public. And I remember being at a mobile pantry out near Golden Gate in Collier County and talking to a retired nurse who was raising her granddaughter at home. And she was telling me how she had been forced to cut her blood pressure medication pills in half because they had gotten so expensive that she was trying to economize and save money in order to be able to buy food for herself and her granddaughter. And thanks to the mobile pantry that she was able to come to, we helped her, bridge that gap and take care of her family.
And those are the stories that the community needs to know, and an important part of the work that you guys are doing to help support the community, is you got to be very proud of where the organization has gotten to today. What's the future look like for you guys?
Well, I think, more and better. We're going to build our new facilities. We're going to expand our capacity to take care of people. We are always looking for ways that we can improve the quality of the food we have, the quantity of the food we have, and make it more easily available to people wherever they might find themselves, and in any time that they, are experiencing hunger, because we don't want anybody in Southwest Florida to have to go hungry.
Absolutely. So for our listeners, how would they go about contacting or reaching out to you if they wanted to help support, or maybe they know somebody who's in need?
The easiest way is to go to our website, HCFB for Harry Chapin Food Bank, hcfb.org. And there's a link there that you can click to find food that'll show you where all our food distributions are coming up nearby to you. There's a link there to sign up to volunteer. We use volunteers 5-6 days a week, doing a variety of things. There are links to all of our partner agencies. And if you don't have access to the internet, I suggest call 211, which is the United Way's services link number, and they can point you to, they know where all our food distributions are. They can point you to where you can get help.
Very good. Very good. Any last words for our listeners today?
First of all, thank you for having me on today. We're so grateful to this community. This is a wonderfully generous and giving community. We couldn't do the work that we do without the thousands of volunteers who support us every year and the many thousands of volunteers who donate food or money to support our work. So we are just so grateful to everybody for how they come together to help their neighbors who are experiencing hunger.
Richard, it's been a pleasure getting to know you. Thank you to the Harry Chapin Food Bank of Southwest Florida for being such a good neighbor and supporting our community. And we hope to see you out there soon.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us on State Insurance USA Cares. We hope today's story uplifted and inspired you. If you'd like to support or learn more about the incredible work happening in your community, visit stateinsuranceusa.com or call 239-567-9992. You can also visit CaboWaboGym.com. Until next time, be sure to let your sun shine and keep sharing good and positive vibes wherever the waves take you.